Okay, this December 15th, 2025, regular meeting of the Fairfax County School Board Engagement Committee will now come to order. Okay, so the first thing, and you guys have seen in your office and seen on the board mat on board docs, and the discussion about proclamations and the red lines where we were just trying to tighten up the proclamation language. And just if you guys have any questions about that, I think one of the things that we thought about recently was how that is not included here, because we had a proclamation that I brought up, which was the family engagement proclamation, and how we have that proclamation that a board member brings up and how we make it an annual proclamation. Like, what are your thoughts about that? Like certain ones, because we've never recognized our family engagement team, and I kind of think that that's engagement. Our community family engagement team should be annually recognized.
Are there any proclamation, because one of the things that they did in coming up with the list they currently have is they collapsed several into one, et cetera. Are there any proclamations that it would feel natural for that one to be slotted into? That's where I would start.
I thought we were doing
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do that, but I'm sorry, I'm not following the order. But no, but like where it would collapse, I don't think that it would collapse into anything because it covers a lot. So family engagement would cover like family liaisons. It also covers interpreters.
Do we have the list of what is currently in there?
Yes.
We'll pull that list. I will note that this isn't that proclamation. Another board member has also brought up needing to do an ISTE recognition, which is separate from the proclamations. The recognition would be more like we do with VHSL and others, and we don't do an ISTE recognition, and they've asked about that too. I think, Ms. St. John Cunning, to your point, this goes to a broader question of, do we need to look at the categories or what's included?
I'd be in favor of that, but I don't have any of that material.
So if you look at, did you,
That's a fun, whoa.
I know, I'm getting there.
I love the
how
infinity
is it
screen.
that you made for me for both of them?
That includes proclamations and recognitions by month.
Can you remind me what a recognition is?
Recognitions are similar to proclamations, although the language is shorter. It's around 150 words. It's more like a paragraph, and it's for things like VHSL, National Board Certified Teachers, Purple
Gotcha.
Ribbon,
Right.
all of those.
Okay.
So slightly truncated.
What month is it that is in, Marcia?
We did it in, was it November? I think it was November.
The other question, I don't know if we solved at the end of last PEC, was to add the one for the community advisory committees as well that you did as one of your recognitions last year, Ms. St. John Cunning. I don't remember if that was added, and I'd have to check, but I don't necessarily see it here. That was in July. Oh, no, it's there. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's there.
Yeah, Mr. McElveen brought that.
Okay.
The reason I'm trying to find something to insert it into is because we could literally have 100 proclamations a year for every job classification. So Like, I think it could go into the one that says school staff appreciation. Also that, yeah. Can you remind me what the name of it is again, Marcia?
It was the family engagement.
What if it
It
was-
was of community engagement, family and community engagement is what it was. So it folded in like really the whole office of family and school partnerships, and that includes family liaisons, that includes interpreters, that includes our libraries, the people that man those library centers, our community engagement reps that are out and registering people. Like I think there's about 3,000 people that fall under that. I mean, I'm happy to roll it into anything else.
Can you put I'm sorry, I was trying to see if there's any place else that would make sense.
Oh. Just a unique category, that's all, because we've got the hippie instructors as well and the family lit instructors. I mean, we could put it under staff because they're all staff. And I know what you're saying. We could have,
Well, maybe we could think about this and the other one that was mentioned until the next meeting
okay.
and have ideas for how it could be included. I'm not opposed to adding one, but, you know,
Well, and the process too, I wasn't,
the process to doing it is editing the governance manual.
right, the process.
We would make a recommendation that would go to the full board and then
Okay,
they would approve it.
for any one that we wanted to add as an annual proclamation.
Any change.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And I think, we had discussed.
Yeah.
So I
They're
think for
latest.
ISTE, I don't know when ISTE comes out.
The recommendation's been around February, but we could talk to the board member who's brought it to our attention.
Then at the annual conference.
Yep, we'll make a note to ask the board member who brought it to our attention as to when it would make the most sense. I think it was by February, so maybe September or December. December definitely has been an open time for us. Like you guys only had that one proclamation. We have no proclamations coming up at the second December meeting, so that's definitely has room.
In advance of the next meeting, could we highlight on here the ones that are not tied specifically to, like, if we've just chosen to call it that, or whether there's like actually a recognized, that work was done previously, it might have.
Yeah, the one that is, we went with this last round of edits, we went through and double checked everything. The one that is really like FCPS specific is the January one for mentors and volunteers week, because that is actually nationally recognized in April, but there was so much in April. And we had previously done it in January, that's why we left it there.
Gotcha.
Most of the other ones, though, we cross-referenced, are added in for months.
All right. My advocacy would be to visit this at the next meeting and make a decision. If we do it, and we can have the change in place by February if the board's amenable.
Okay.
Then, just for reference, the next meeting of the Public Engagement Committee is February 23rd.
Then they could have the place in change, the change in place by March.
There you go.
So I don't know if you guys have any other questions about the proclamations and the redlining and any other things there that you would like to?
Which item are you on?
Well, we're still with proclamation discussion, because basically, we were just gonna discuss, and you guys have everything, the redlining on it, everything that was done on it.
I don't have anything attached to that agenda item.
Yeah, the red lines that were already done, were already approved by the board
Oh, okay.
with the last term, with the last year.
Okay,
We did not do any new edits
Okay,
for
okay.
proclamations for this round, because we weren't sure what needed to be done. Happy to do them, though, to have them ready for February.
no, I apologize. I had them in my book, and I second-guessed myself, because I thought we had done it, but I'm like, oh, maybe we didn't. And I had that question anyway, so, the next item that we're gonna go to is, Strategic Governance Manual, and you guys should have the red line for,
No.
do you guys have it? No?
Yeah.
Yep, it's posted, and
Okay.
I'm happy to walk you through.
I'd like
These
to
are
make a motion.
edits that are coming
Huh?
out of my office. Ms. St. John Cunning, would you like me to walk through why we're proposing what we
Okay,
propose?
do I have to do the motion for, does someone have to do
You
the
don't
motion?
have to do the motion. I would just say that they seem pretty straightforward. I'd like to make a motion to accept them. We're changing the time and and making it clearer what the who speaks to what, or what, the categories of speakers, rather. So I'd make the motion to accept these and move them onto the full board. I don't think the time change matters much, because it's a lottery now, but it does disincentivize people from feeling like they have to get up at the crack of dawn to do it, and it keeps staff from having to do anything that early.
Right, part of the issue is the way that Google has now changed their forms. It's prevented us from being able to set times for it to open, so we have to manually open and manually close. Previously, the former deputy who was serving as interim, because of her hours, she tended to be here at 6 a.m. in the morning, and so she was opening it, but my staff, I don't currently have anybody, and I don't want to ask anybody to be in the office at 6 a.m., so that's why we're proposing 8, which is when the office opens.
It changes nothing for the people who are actually filling out the form. I mean, like,
Right,
so they just have to, yeah. So I'll make that motion if somebody wants to second it. Well, from what I can tell, we've got the time change to 8 a.m., some stuff getting bolded, and then iterating out who the speakers are, like what categories they fall into, and eliminating the text at the bottom, which basically did the same thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
more
just,
out of-
it's poorly formatted, sorry about that. So what it does here is adds, if there's more than 3, just making sure to know that there will be a lottery if there are more than 3 student speakers and 10 individuals. The previous language had it be determined by a random lottery for everything, and that the student slots will not revert. Speaker wait list will be created. This just clarifies the language here. And then just some moving things around to make a separate guidelines section. And then just clarifying that someone who may speak on the wait list if they have not spoken on the last 2 regular meetings. Before, it was a case of anyone and everyone, and we had some questions about that. Then language that if a speaker registers but does not speak, they are eligible to speak at the next meeting. And then this next one is speaker decorum and expectation section I added just to have that clarified. I know there was some question from some people about wanting to make sure that there was more language added to the decorum, but I think that was about the general meeting, and I didn't add that into community participation. In terms of public hearing, and then I updated, in terms of public hearing, I added that it will close 4:32 workdays. We've had some issues where it hasn't been easy to get out the tech check emails, so we updated that language to give a little bit more time to the public and our staff to make sure that everyone has what they need. Then we added the signage to the portion of public hearing because it was only in community participation before, and then just updated this email because it had the old citizen participation email there as well.
Yeah. I'm fine with all of it.
And then, so can we have a motion to, I
I already
can't.
made the motion.
Oh, okay,
Nice, Sarah.
okay. Okay, it's approved. The only thing that was discussed before with decorum, and this, we discussed this in terms of what the expectation is, in terms of what decorum should be, and if the chair has the ability to cut off a speaker if they're not following decorum.
They do. I think there's an open question as to whether it's politically wise.
Right, and
But there's
so,
also, so we do have legal guidance from council on literally the only thing that a speaker can't say at the podium is one of the words the FCC bars from being broadcast, right? That's the only legal thing. It's like the 7 words that Carlin used to talk about, right? And so there's no legal requirement that there is public participation, but if we're going to have public participation, there needs to be a wide berth for what people can say, even if it's objectionable.
no, and I recognize this. I think this discussion started from a couple of sessions ago when we had very robust participation, and there was some people that were shouting, in the audience, and I do believe some were escorted out. And so it's
But
like,
that's from the audience, right? Not from
right, but
people
what,
speaking.
then it went down to like if people are speaking, or like if, obviously, whatever we say is decorum, and if the chair could cut someone off would also obviously apply to us, unless, so that as the same decorum we expect from the public, we should expect from each other.
Sure.
So, and, I guess I just wanted your thoughts and your ideas, and what you're saying is it's the 7 words.
Well, the chair has the authority to cut somebody off at the podium. I've only seen it done once.
Okay.
And if I was chair, king of the world, I wouldn't cut anybody off unless they, put us in jeopardy with the FCC. Sometimes allowing people to share even objectionable comments is illustrative, right? Everybody teaches us something. Some teach us what to do, and some teach us what not to do.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think it's the appetite of what people have for what's acceptable, and I know we had discussed it before, so I didn't want to just drop it in terms of, and I think it sounds reasonable
I'll ask
if we have,
Mr. Foster to send PEC committee members the guidance that he provided previously.
right, I think that would be helpful, because that way we know what's acceptable, and, so then we will move on to the next subject that we had discussed, and we kind of discussed this, and we really didn't, oh, well, I should follow the script. Huh? Yeah, so we're going to, advisory committees and the public engagement committee, and the ongoing questions about the existence of the committee, considering that now we are going to be creating a toolkit. And we've been kind of on hold with the toolkit because IT has been trying to give us the platform that we've spoken with IT. We've gotten together with them, like which would be the best platform that could be used that's not an internal, well, that's a out-facing instead of inward-facing. And I think they've come up with, they've investigating a couple of platforms, and I think they've determined the best one. And so now I think we're a go with that. And I know our colleague, Sandy Anderson, has developed toolkits before and was chair of chair of PEC before and is willing to develop those toolkits. So if we have our manuals, if we have everything, we have the toolkits, then the question was, what is the function of PEC?
I think if Ms. Anderson wants to, and she's got great design skills, but if she wants to design something along the lines of what PEC has been talking about, I think PEC would still want to kick the tires on it after it's done.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we can vote to send it on to the full board for approval. I'm eager to do that. I think it's I've had so many advisory committee members of the years be like, I have no idea what's going on when they first get in. And I'm always trying to get them to, go have coffee with the chair of the committee or whatever, but having a toolkit, I think, will be very helpful.
No, right, and I think that it's something that they can keep referring to, because the way we've discussed it, it would be like little lessons that people could keep going back to, along obviously with going and having coffee and meeting other people, but definitely that design with our input of what we would like to see put in there, and so I'm just throwing that out as a consideration.
We could go back and also look at the original motion language, had details about what needed to be included in the toolkit.
Right,
That'd be helpful too.
okay. Mr. McElwain, do you have any ideas? Okay.
I think there's eagerness around the next discussion item for sure.
Yes, the school board student representative, the second 5.10. And you guys should have a form of thing, or it should be of how many representatives other school districts have. And more than anything, it's just, we started discussing it, and I think where we kind of got stuck on was where and how that representative would be selected.
So I'm a big fan of when we're changing something to make it as easy on the people who have to change it as possible. I'm wondering if, and I'm completely open to the number of people, I see Alexandria has 3. I'm not opposed to having 3. I don't think we should have 3 at the meeting at the same time. I think we can help relieve the burden while giving the experience to people if they rotate through. And we can put, you go every third, or they can pick the ones themselves. Maybe they have conflicts or whatever. So I would prefer, if we're gonna do it first, maybe we select them, the 2 or 3 people, the same way that the other one is selected, and then they rotate through, every second or third meeting, depending on how many we pick. The other thing I would note is that I heard rumors this weekend that in the next census, they might add another magisterial district. We're gonna be squeezed tight on that dais. So,
Oh my gosh.
maybe it'll coincide with the renovation of Luther Jackson and it won't be a problem. But I'd be in favor of 2 or 3 people. Maybe we add a second one, and then the following year, we check in to see how it went, and we add a third. I think the more kids that we can give experience doing this, the better.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we wanted to open up to 2, I could support that. And I think maybe we would start off saying that they would rotate, every other meeting. And then, if they, as you said, if they have conflicts, then they could, switch, right?
I think that would be helpful, given we have seen, depending on the student rep, some are able to make most of the meetings. I think this year, for instance, Ms. McConan wasn't able to make the last one because she had a chorus concert the same night as the board meeting,
Right.
and her chorus teacher just would not let her out of it. There was another, as they shouldn't, because school comes first, and we stress that to them, that school comes first. But I think there are times when they're not able to make events, and I know there's been events that she's wanted to participate just with the Student Development Leadership Program, and she's not been able to do that either due to conflicts. So I think if there was 2, they would be able to split the work.
Can I make a request for language? The other thing that I think about when we have 2 is making
I think that geographic thing was something we discussed. I'm going to throw something out there just to see what your ideas are. I think, like you said, doing it the way we've always done it is easy, but now that we've got this leadership cohort going, like, what are your thoughts about having one that is the way it's always been done, and then selecting one from our leadership cohort? Just a thought.
No, I mean, I think my preference, at least for the first year, is not to change the overall structure of the election process. I know some years they've had like 120 run through SAC. So, I mean, you already have a process and a lot of people participating. It's gone up, you know, there were years in the past where you'd have like 12, right? And it's 10 times that now. So I'd stick with that process. The other thing I wanted to mention is that in the old days, the expectation was that the students would also attend the board work sessions, and I haven't seen that since I've been back on the board. I may have stopped during COVID, right? But
I think they're struggling to fit it in with their
Yeah.
schedules because
Right.
we tell them that school A is to come first, B. I think it also depends just on the availability to have a car. Like last year, our student rep had a car. This year, our student rep doesn't have a car, which has made her getting to things more difficult.
yeah,
But we now have an Uber set for students. We worked with transportation and the different departments and FCPS, and what we identified was the best way was to create a Uber kid account, so to speak. And so where the drivers are more vetted, and so we can offer a student Uber, which has made things a little bit easier, particularly for our student leadership students. But not all parents are still comfortable with their kids taking that, even with the additional verifications. So I think with the work session, the biggest issue is balancing with school and getting here during the day when the parents work.
Make a motion that PEC over email work up the language for a new,
Student
no,
representative.
what is it called on the regular meeting agenda? New
Business.
business, thank
New
you, new
business.
business item that says, and we'll work this language out, but like, adding a second member from do we want to do a different region or a different pyramid?
I think it's geographic location, because if you could have one from Hayfield Pyramid and Edison Pyramid, and they're same geographic. So east, west, north, south.
I think for the first year, it would be, I think it's very hard. I think I don't foresee a situation where you'd have two TJ kids, right? But I do think just starting it by saying different high school
I'd be fine
pyramids,
with that.
just
I'm
to
good with
start,
that.
right?
And it's kind of been all over the place
Yeah.
since I've been on the board. It's never been the same school
Yeah.
twice in a
It didn't
row.
used to be that way, but it's gotten a lot better, in part because I think the student leadership program.
Yeah.
came.
So the board will, or the committee will work out language to provide to the board for new business that would add a second person that would trade off responsibilities and meeting attendance between the two, and that they would be from different schools.
I think that's a great idea. And then we could just move this forward, because there was just a lot of
Yeah.
debating back and forth.
And I can, in the interim, look at governance manual and stuff to see what else has to be changed to make it work.
For a very related item, and I think Carl has mentioned this as well, is that I'd like to bring up in future PEC meetings, adding an additional board member for each district for the leadership development program. Given the fact that we had 400 applications, I don't think, I mean, it's more logistics, and Kevin may need more support, but we're already doing the stuff, and we can,
Maybe we can put it on the agenda for the next PEC to move it forward.
So have two students.
each board member would appoint two.
Two,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, because the kids loved it, and the more we can get students involved.
So I move that PEC create a new business item in order to add a second member from a different high school pyramid as a student representative to the Fairfax County School Board that will trade off responsibilities and meeting attendance. Great, and we'll figure out the specific language over like Google Docs and such.
Okay. Need a second?
All right.
It's unanimous for everyone at the table.
I think we're done.
And yeah, we are adjourned. So the December 15th, 2025 meeting of the Fairfax County School Board Public Engagement Committee is adjourned at 4:38. The next meeting of the Public Engagement Committee will be held on February 23rd, 2026. I know it's a busy week. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate it.